that down, please.
What?
Aren't you holding a golf club?
Come here, I can't hear you over there.
Your golf club.
What about my golf club?
Can you please set it down?
Huh?
Can you please set it down?
What's going on?
Set it down, please.
I know what's going on.
Put it down.
This is my golf club.
I'm not going to take it from you, but it's a weapon, so set it down.
I had this golf club for 20 years.
Set it down, please.
Huh?
I'm not going to ask you again. Set it down.
When you have to call somebody, I've been walking with this golf club for 20 years.
Set it down.
Will you call somebody?
I am calling someone.
Go ahead.
Put your golf club down.
Call somebody.
You're being audio and videotape.
No, you call somebody. I ain't done nothing to nobody.
You just swung that golf club at me.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Right back there.
I didn't see you. I didn't wear no golf club.
It was on audio and videotape. Put it down.
Officer Whitlatch claims that her dashcam recorded Mr. Wingate swinging his golf club at her cruiser. However, neither the dashcam video or any surrounding CCTV footage supports her claim. Officer Whitlatch continues to order William 17 times to put his golf club cane down. William refuses and continues to request a supervisor.
Put it down.
No, you call somebody.
Put it down.
You call somebody.
I'm at 12 and 5, and I need to see another unit. Sir! Put it down!
You call somebody. I ain't done nothing to nobody. I'll be walking.
You're not free to leave right now. Please set it down.
No, you call somebody. I want to witness.
You are being audio and videotaped right now. Set your golf club down. I have a subject with a golf club who is refusing to set it down. Set your golf club down! Sir! Sir! I'm going to ask you for, I don't know what, the 13th time to set your golf club down.
I'm telling you the second time to call somebody up here.
If you do not set your golf club down, you will be subject to arrest for obstruction.
Call somebody else. I ain't know nothing. And everybody out here know my church is up there, and everybody knows me.
You're not free to leave. You're not free to leave.
Are you talking about that? Yeah, here you're not here.
Set your golf club down. Set it down. Set it down.
I ain't never seen this woman before.
Come over here. Come over here.
I ain't never seen this woman.
Come over here. Come over here. Put that down.
All right, Shalom. As always, all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and citations to the elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Lord willing, this one will be edifying to the elect. And as you can see here in this video, there's quite a lot to unpack here, but you know, the scriptures talk plainly about these so-called white people, man. They're biblically Edomites. You know, they're descendants of Esau, Edom, right? They're not white people. They're not holy. They're not pure. They're pure evil. That's what they are. But they're not pure and holy and clean. They're the total opposite, right? But scriptures mentions, you know, the Esau being estranged from the womb, and as soon as they're born, they speak lies. Because here you have it, you know, this Edomite cop here is telling lies on this elderly Jake, you know, this elderly Israelite man, right? And you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you are the true chosen people of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, and your powers are the true name of your God, who the world ignorantly calls God is Yahweh, and who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahushai. Those are the names that you're supposed to call upon, that will protect you. Those are the only names that you can receive salvation by. However, knowing the names alone won't save you. You know, there's a lot more you need to do. You know, cleansing your ways and learning this word. You know, taking heed to the words of the prophets that the Lord is speaking through. But anyways, yeah, this estranged Edomite, you know, speaking lies, you know, on the elder here in the video, the elderly man. And Esau's technology works against them, you know, in times like this, because they're so used to telling lies and getting away with it that they don't consider, you know, just to get their own way, they tell lies. She just went to the default to say, have you on camera. I have you swinging the golf club at me, which I'm not sure if this title here is true. Black man was awarded 325,000 after white cop arrested him for carrying a golf club as a cane. Now, I don't know if that's true. Good for him. That's the least he would deserve here, because these devils, man, they don't, they're not what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just let the scriptures here explain it. So this is Psalms chapter 73, and let me start at verse 3, and it says, "For I was envious at the foolish," and the foolish is these devils, man, these so-called white people, "when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, and they're also the wicked." That's what they are. They're nothing but opposites of righteousness. Right? They're made to be wicked. So the things that they do on the earth today should be no surprise to you people. There's no such thing as a good white person. They pretend to be good. They're very good at it. They lie, right? They give you that little tight-lipped smirk. How you doing, John? Anyways, it goes on to say, "For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm," right? "They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men." Yes, you don't see Edomites getting in trouble like Israelite men, like so-called black men, so-called Hispanic men, so-called Native American men, women, and children. You don't see that because they're in their rulership. They're in their kingdom currently. Right? That would never happen to a old cracker. You would never see a old so-called white man being treated like that. Hell no. Right? Again, it says they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Yeah, they don't have the curses on them. So that's the main reason why I hit record, because no matter how old you are, whether you're 1, whether you're 70 years old, you will not escape the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28 as a Israelite, right? As a chosen nation of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, who were giving the laws, because the Lord is only dealing with one nation, his chosen people. You so-called Negroes, call yourself Caribbean, Jamaican, Trinidadian, African American, Haitian, and we're scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. So some of us look like Bruce Lee, some of our women look like Katy Perry. We look like everyone because we have been mingled amongst everyone. So the curses have been, gone out through the earth. And they fit the spirits of the Israelites. So it's not about your skin color and what you look like, but predominantly Israelites have a look. Yes, we look like, so-called black people. We look like so-called Latinos, right? And Latinas, right? But that's not the point. We can look like anyone, right? Because it's not about your appearance. It's not about your flesh. It's about your spirit. Okay? And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. It says, "Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field." And if you're familiar with this chapter, you can go ahead and read it from verse 1. The Lord said, "If we were to hearken unto his voice and to do his commandments, we would be put above all nations." But then he said, if we disobey him, then all of these curses will fall upon us. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And verse 19 says, "Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out." All right. And it explains all the different curses. So that's why, an elderly so-called black man will be going through things such as what we just witnessed in the video, because we are still under the curses. And we will not escape the curses until we receive, the ones of us that are off the elect, as we call ourselves the hopeful elect. We won't be rescued out of that type of treatment and that type of oppression until Yahushua returns. So let me continue Psalm 73, and it says, verse 5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasses them as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than the heart could wish. Right, these elites, they are in possession of everything on the planet Earth today. Right, they own everything, but temporarily, because the triumph of the wicked is short. But this is their time to reign. This is their time to enjoy their heaven that they're currently in, because it's coming to an end. That's why sometimes you'll see Edomites suffering on the road, begging and just complaining about the system that their kings have set up. Their kings, which I'm referring to the elites, where they, you have Edomite women complaining on TikTok about money and not having enough, and how hard it is in Babylon the Great. And that's all prophecy, man, because the curses are, taking its time to turn over to these Edomites, because that's ultimately what's going to happen. And it goes on to say, they are not, where are we now? And it says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They speak very proudly. They don't care about you, man. When you're in the prison houses, when you're in court, the same crime that a Edomite would do, you get double. Right? You get locked up for things that you shouldn't even be locked up for the time that you receive, because of his unjust laws. That this is the devil that we're dealing with. They purposefully, set the laws and certain things in place just to stack you Israelites, you Negroes and Hispanics into these jailhouses, man. Because it's very similar to how slavery was, in the sense that they can use the slaves to make money. These prisons make a lot of money. So even when you're locked up, they're making money, off of having slaves in there, man. Not slaves, prisoners, but the same thing, man. Same thing. And that's the spirit, because it's nothing different. It's just different ways. Esau has his different what's the word I'm looking for? Modernized ways of how he restructures slavery. Just as how we're all in economic slavery today. We all go to work and work for chump change, because really and truly the work that we're putting in and the pay that we're getting, it doesn't add up. You have few people that they get decent paying jobs and they can live a decent enough life. But we know, being in this truth, the Lord is just going to give you enough to sustain you, enough that, as the scriptures say, man, give me neither poverty nor riches. So the Lord keeps you in the middle, right? The Lord always, gives his servants enough, just enough, even if it's just a rice grain enough, a drop of water enough to keep you going. The Lord got you, man. Speaking to the hopeful elect. All right. So once more, it says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They speak very proudly. That's why she was behaving in such a way as if, she is the one that set the laws and she's in charge. How dare you not listen to me? I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to arrest you because you're walking with a golf club as a walking stick. And I'm going to tell a lie on you because I know I can get away with it. But their power is getting weaker and weaker. But this is just this video is a representation and an example of how this Edomite's kingdom has been ruled. They're going to continue to behave like this until they can't. Until the saints come. Until it's time for the saints to take the kingdom. Until Yahushua comes and until certain prophecies are fulfilled, right? That's the point. Let me move on from this. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7, and it says, I've seen servants upon horses. And who are the servants? She's an example of a servant, right? She's in a position of power. She's upon the horse, right? And it goes on to say, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So that elderly Jake, he's an example of a prince because he is a prince. You know, the word Israel itself means he prince of the power, right? We're all princes, man. But they are the real servants, you know, riding around in horses, commanding and you know, convicting and you know, judging people wrongly, judging people unrighteously. That's what they do. They don't care because they're in their rulership. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. How can you expect the wicked to be ruling in righteousness and fairness? That's not going to happen. And even when they do the right thing, it's always for a benefit. They always benefit somehow. Trust me on that. Let me see what else I have here. So this is a good one. This is Baruch chapter 8, 3 verse 8. And let me see what else I got here as well. Perfect. Okay, let me just get Baruch, and I'll get the rest of these. So this is Baruch chapter 3 verse 8, and it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, as I mentioned before. All Israelites have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So contrary to what other camps may try to portray, this is not a black only thing, or it's not a Hispanic only thing, you know, or a Native American only thing. No, the sign is meant to you know, identify the, you know, the sign is a sign itself, but it's meant, when you see the 12 tribe chart, that chart really represents the majority, right? So based on prophecy, we can highlight that the Native Americans are Gad, you know, the Dominicans are Simeon, you know, Jamaicans, and, you know, the rest of the Caribbean, they're Benjamites, and then the African Americans, so-called Caribbean people, they are the Southern Kingdom, right? And so on and so forth. But however, Israelites can look like Brad Pitt, you know, what's that next guy name? David Beckham, whoever it may be, man. It's not about how you look. So the point of why I'm saying that is because we're all scattered abroad, right? We've all, you know, our seed has been, you know, the seed of Israelite men have been mingled and put in different women across the four corners of the earth, and children come out looking like heathen, which they aren't heathen, right? Because you are what your father is. So there's that confusion there. There's a lot of speckled birds, right? And it says, where thou hast scattered us, again, it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. And the main ones that feel the captivity today are the so-called Negroes and Hispanics, right? Because these devils focus more on the color of the skin, because they can identify who we are by how we appear, right? Based on what all Israelites are supposed to look like. So that's why, you know, the Southern Kingdom is oppressed the most, or appears to be oppressed the most, along with the Northern tribes, some of the Latin tribes as well. They catch a lot of hell as well, and the Native Americans catch big hell. So it's not even like, you know, the Southern Kingdom catches more hell or more captivity. They're just more highlighted because they're more popular. The head tribe is Judah, so Judah does get a, you know, the sharp end of the stick. You know, Judah does get, you know, a lot of the attention, so to speak. So it appears that way, right? And it says, for a reproach, and it says, thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. As I was mentioning before, you know, we work jobs where we barely get what we deserve. You know, we're subject to payments. You know, I think it's in Hosea, one of those chapters, mentions, you know, we earn a wage just to put it in a bag with holes. We all are subject to payments, man. No other nation is subject to payments like you Israelites today. And if you are an Israelite that looks like Brad Pitt, or that looks like, you know, Jet Li, that looks like a heathen, your spirit will bear witness, right? And that's what these other camps don't teach. They're so busy getting caught up on teaching, salvation, everyone can get salvation, which is not the case. It's just that Israel looks like all nations. And, the prophets of Great Millstone, which the Lord is dealing with the prophets, the men of the Lord, that are in Great Millstone. We've been preaching the message that, Israelites look like all nations. So it's not that actual heathens can make it and get salvation. No, it's just that Israel looks like everyone. We're the sand of the sea. We're as the sand of the sea, as the stars of the sky. You cannot number us, right? And he goes on to say, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord or power, exactly as I mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 28, because our forefathers disobeyed Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Hence, this is what happened. Hence, this is why we're in the predicament that we are today. Hence, that's why the elder in the video there, the elderly man in the video there, he was being treated like that, because we are subject to the iniquities of our fathers, and we're yet this day in our captivity, But no need to worry, because all of that is going to be reversed. There's a Uno card. And who has that card? Yahushai. Right? A Uno reverse card. So this is Psalms chapter 137, verse 9. Happy, and it says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against thy stone. And this is, one of the extreme levels that we're going to take it to these heathen. The reason why I'm reading this scripture is because everything that they do unto us, we're going to return to them. We're going to return unto them, and we're going to be happy to do so, because that's what justice is. That's real justice, not these damn reparations that they always want to talk about. Oh, we should give, Jake always, I'll take that. I'll just give us Texas. Just give us all $1 million. Like, come on, that does not help. That does not repair all of the psychological damage that has been passed down through generations of our people. That doesn't even touch the surface, right? However, this is Daniel chapter 7, verse 18, and it says, but the saints of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So the emphasis on that, we will rule the world in righteousness forever, infinity, right? Never to be returned. The world will never to be returned to wickedness. The world will be ruled in righteousness, and that will be the standard, and the nations will flock to us, and they will be under a subjection, and we will be teaching them to be righteous, because they won't be perfect. They won't be renewed. They're going to go off. So because they're going to go off, we're going to have to be there to correct them and teach them the right things, right? Simply, plain and simple. So this is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, and it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So they're going to rejoice. They're going to be happy. Even the earth itself is going to be happy. The trees, the foundation of the ground that we walk upon. There will be no more roads, concrete jungles. No, we will be able to step on the earth and feel as one. These earthy girls that love to, love nature and all that bullshit, which they don't really understand. But at the same time, they're not fully bugged out, because they are right. Because there is frequencies and energies and healing in plants, and nature itself, but we're so disconnected because of how this devil has set up this world that we don't focus on these things, man. And mainly because our people have been so distant and cut off from our powers. From Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That's the gateway to everything that we need to protect us and grow us in the right way spiritually, that we may have a chance at salvation. Nothing else is going to give you the chance at salvation but Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Open up your mind, renewing your mind and putting the information in your mind. So we can't do anything to save you. We can only speak the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and then Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will do the rest through the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, and then it will reach who it's supposed to reach. The elect will always receive the message, the good news, the truth, right? Just as how we have received it, us hopeful men of the Lord. The prophets on the highways, on the byways, on the internet, preaching the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We all got the call. As the scriptures say, many are called, but few are chosen. So you just got to continue in this walk and, make your calling and election sure, and work with your lot in righteousness, and just pray that the Lord does not cast you away. So with that, I'm just going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.